The Altar of Reflection is an activity that appears on the Throne World after you complete the Witch Queen campaign, and Savathun's Echo gives us 4 statements, 2 truths and 2 lies. It's a classic Savathun game, but in there lays some truths and has some interesting implications for the future of Destiny 2. Well, today I'm going to dive into all the statements that we've had so far from Savathun, plus try to decide which ones are true and which ones are false. Well, if you're new around here or find this useful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below for all the latest Destiny 2 content and turn on notifications by hitting that bell. And roughly 98% of viewers who watch This Week in Video Games aren't subscribed, so subscribe today and never miss an update. Well, Savathun is the Hive god of cunning and trickery, and this latest game is another great example of her still getting inside our heads. Well, if you haven't seen these 2 truths and 2 lies in the game, then it's well worth doing. Complete the campaign and then select the Altar of Reflection on the Throne World, and you have to run through a puzzle, defeat some enemies, and then you'll get to Savathun's Echo delivering the truths and the lies. Well, let's get stuck into the statements from Savathun, and I would really love to hear from you as to what you think is the truth. Let me know down there in the comments. Also, this does contain spoilers for the Witch Queen campaign, so if you haven't done that yet, consider this your spoiler warning. Well, first of all, we've got the Altar of Reflection choice, and we've got these statements as follows. So, the Traveller will leave, the Traveller will fall, the Traveller is not the only one of its kind, and the Hive are not the last to be chosen by the light. Well, let's start out with the Traveller will leave. I reckon this is true, so as sad as Zavala is going to be when this happens, I really think this one is true. So the Traveller has a history of leaving civilizations it's visited, including very recently the Elixni. So according to the lore, the Traveller did try to flee Earth during the first collapse. However, Rasputin, the currently dormant AI superweapon, forced it to stay. I really hope it doesn't happen, but I think it might. Well, next up, we've got the Traveller will fall. So that one I think is true. And the major thing I'm concerned about here is the upcoming expansion called Lightfall. The name of the expansion doesn't really bode well for the future of the Light, or indeed the Traveller. So given we got the final 2 expansions coming up, Lightfall and the Final Shape, I think it's likely that both the Traveller and the Witness are going to be taken down, leaving us free to leave the solar system and find some new adventures somewhere else. And I'm hoping we're going to finally find out what's inside the Traveller. And then we got the third one, so the Traveller is not the only one of its kind. I think this one's a lie. I don't really think this is likely. It would feel a little bit weird if the Traveller were to run away or die and then immediately be replaced. I think that would feel a little bit cheap in terms of the storytelling, but only time will tell. But for now, I do think that one is a lie. And then we got the fourth one, so the Hive are not the last to be chosen by the light. And I think that one is a lie. So I don't think we're going to see any more light bearers from other races. In theory, this could happen, but it feels like Bungie has played their hand in terms of other races getting the light. I can't really see the Cabal getting the light, or definitely not the Vex. So the Vex feel like the one race we could never have an alliance with, as they're simply pretty evil killing machines. I can see us having an alliance with Elixni, Cabal and Hive to face off against the Pyramid ships, the Scorn, and maybe together with the Vex. Well, next up we've got the Altar of Reflection Insight. So we've got the statements, Mercury, Io and Titan are in my care, the Witness return Mars to your solar system, the power to move worlds will soon be yours, and the Taken King will rise again. Well, Mercury, Io and Titan are in my care. Let's start off with that one. I think that one is a lie. So the planet and the various moons disappeared before Beyond Light, when the darkness came along and made them disappear, leaving vast anomalies in their place. So I don't think Savathun has them in her care. So really, I think we can discount this one fairly quickly. Well, next up we've got the Witness return Mars to your solar system. This one, I think, is a lie. I don't think the Witness did this, and it seems more likely that Savathun had something to do with it. Perhaps revealing the plans of Rolk the Disciple, the Pyramid ships, and the Witness. So if Savathun knew she was going to die, so it stands to reason that she'd want to unveil the Witness's plan somehow. Well, next up, we've got an exciting one. The power to move worlds will soon be yours. And I think this one is true. Given that we know the darkness has been involved in moving worlds like Mercury, Titan, Io, and Mars, and given we've been dabbling with stasis in Beyond Light, which is a form of darkness ability, we could be getting our hands on some new abilities that allow us to do the same. Now, this could allow us to warp space and time itself, or allow us to travel very large distances in a short amount of time. Well, next up we got the Taken King will rise again, and I think this one is true. So Oryx has been mentioned a few times in the campaign, which could be a build-up to a returning King's Fall raid later on in the year. Bungie have said that a raid or a dungeon is going to be released with the coming seasons, and thematically King's Fall works alongside the Witch Queen. Fans have also been calling for Crota's End and also Wrath of the Machine, but I think the returning Legacy raid this year is going to be the King's Fall raid. Well, next up we got the Altar of Reflection Catalyst. So the statements are as follows. So the Pyramid Blade is the key to defeating the Witness. The Witness seeks the final shape, and the final shape is nothing. The last city is not the last city, and the Witness will build its army on Mars. First of all then, we've got the Pyramid Blade is the one key to defeating the Witness. I think this is true. So the Pyramid Blade, I'm assuming they mean the glaive, so that was useful in terms of understanding Savathun's plans, and therefore discovering the Witness's plans. It's not a huge stretch of the imagination to think that this could be key to defeating the Witness, given it's an ancient weapon, but hopefully glaives do get buffed again before Lightfall. Well, next up we've got the Witness seeks the final shape, and the final shape is nothing. I think this one is true. So the Witness did reveal their hand at the end of the Witch Queen campaign by saying, no more death and no more life. Essentially, that is eternal nothingness. So the Witness seems hell-bent on disrupting the balance of the known universe and essentially erasing everything to dust. Well, then we got the last city is not the last city. This one I think is a lie. This one seems fairly straightforward. The last city is the last city on Earth. There may be other cities, but I don't think they're on Earth, so it's likely we're going to have to travel to find these other cities. Then we got one that says the Witness will build its army on Mars. I think this one is a lie. Mars seems very, very specific. While we do have the relic on Mars in the Enclave, and there's other pyramid ships in other places too, we've got one buried deep beneath the surface of the moon, plus we've also got one on Europa. Then we've got one on Savathun's throne world as well, and that is currently in close proximity to Mars. However, I do think it's more likely that the Witness will build their army far away and arrive by a fleet of pyramid ships. Well, finally then, we've got Altar of Reflection Pact. So we've got the statements, Osiris is dead, Savathun is dead, the Witness birthed the darkness, and in the end, your destiny lies beyond the system. So first of all, with Osiris is dead, I think this is a lie. Osiris was taken over by Savathun shortly before Beyond Light came out, and over the course of the last year, Savathun sowed seeds of discontent in the last city, so Osiris was freed at the end of Season of the Lost, right before the Witch Queen DLC was released, and he's currently in a coma, which is confirmed in the lore. He's not completely alive and kicking as before, but I don't think he's dead just yet. Well, next up we got Savathun is dead, and that one is true. So Savathun died shortly after being released from the crystal by Mara Sov, and she staggered towards the Traveller outside the last city and died. She was then chosen by the Traveller and resurrected by her ghost, leading to her gathering her memories through the campaign and ultimately facing off against each other at the end of the Witch Queen campaign. Savathun, of course, was defeated and her ghost was quickly taken away before it could be destroyed, so in theory she could come back at any time. Therefore, Savathun technically is dead right now, but given her ghost is still out there, she still may come back in the future. But then we got the Witness birth the darkness, so this one is a lie. So it does appear as if the Witness has some form of control, or is using the darkness for their purposes. So as far as I know from the lore, the light and the darkness have been at war for thousands of years, potentially predating the Witness. The light and the darkness are discussed in terms of creation and destruction, and the Witness themselves specifically calls out the Traveller in the final cutscene post-campaign. I do think this one is a lie, and the darkness is more of a tool for the Witness rather than them having birthed the darkness itself. Well, finally, we've got in the end, your destiny lies beyond the system. So this one I think is true, and I think is really, really exciting. It makes a lot of sense for the franchise. Destiny has existed since 2014, and we're going into the two final expansions in the next couple of years, called Lightfall and the Final Shape, where we're going to conclude the Light and the Darkness saga. Bungie have already said that Destiny 2 is going to continue beyond that. You could easily imagine us leaving the solar system to find new adventures. Some think that the Helm is a ship, and perhaps during Lightfall or the Final Shape, our tower or the last city will be destroyed and we're going to leave Earth in our Helm ship. Personally, I would love to see what's out there beyond the solar system, as hopefully we finally get to fight a new enemy type. Well, that is it for the truths and lies from Savathun, but I'd really want you to let me know in the comments what you think of the truths and the lies, plus let me know your best theories for the future related to the truths. Yeah, are we going to be leaving the solar system, and how are we going to do that? Yeah, will we gain the power to move worlds? Share your comments and thoughts and ideas in the comments. Well, that is it for this look at Savathun's 2 truths and 2 lies in the Witch Queen DLC, and as always, thank you so much for watching. For more Destiny 2 content like this, hit that subscribe button down below and subscribe to This Week in Video Games. Or you can check me out on Twitter at TWIVG Podcast. If you enjoyed this video, found it useful, liking and sharing the video would really help me out. Otherwise, check out the other videos on the channel. Well, thanks again, and I'll see you soon.